and gentlemen, the Combat Chronicles, Chapter 1, Brock Lesnar.
Hey, you can explain what the Combat Chronicles are first?
It's a good question.
It's not Wogjitsu.
It's not Wogjitsu, formerly Wogjitsu.
It might sound like Wogjitsu at points.
It might a little bit.
Especially when there's a fatal episode.
That's it. Oh, I can't wait for that. This is the whole reason for the podcast. So this is the Combat Chronicles. Basically, we're going to be talking about MMA, combat sports, and the history behind it a little bit. The ins and outs of it all, the ups, the downs, the conspiracy theories.
So we're going to focus on a fighter in every episode being one chapter. There'll be multiple chapters, like a chapter in a book.
Yep.
And this first first chapter, I should say, is going to be our man, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar, the man.
So my friend Dominic over here, he's going to read some stats and give us a bit of a lowdown here.
So Brock. Ooh, sorry.
Face the mic, Dom.
Oh, it's my first time. So Brock Lesnar's had 9 fights in total in the mixed martial arts sport, MMA sport. So I can't say UFC because his first fight wasn't in the UFC. But
so yeah, in an MMA organisation.
Yeah, so he's had 9 fights in total. 5 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no contest.
No. 1 no contest.
Yeah.
What was the no contest?
Mark Hunt. It was overturned.
Yes, I forgot about that. Oh mate, don't tell Mark Hunt.
Don't tell Mark Hunt that. But yeah, Brock.
Is he still trying to sue him?
Nah, that was all settled out of court.
Did Mark Hunt get a payout for that?
I don't think so. Nah, I think they dropped it all because it was just like pushing shit uphill. There was no chance of him winning.
Yeah, that was.
It'd be an interesting thing to read, but we didn't.
Read it. Who's got the time?
Who's got the time? That's right.
Man, I don't even care about that fight anyway, to be honest.
It was a sort of a short notice fight. It was sort of like a setup fight to get him a title shot. I think him fighting Mark Hunt.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think originally they wanted to give him a title fight, but it just didn't look good at the time because you had all your up and comers like Conor McGregor at the time.
Then he came back out to want to fight DC.
Yeah, that was the DC choice though. That wasn't a Brock Lesnar choice.
He came in the ring after what fight? The Stipe fight?
Yeah, after he knocked out Stipe. So rumour has it that both those guys had promised a Brock Lesnar fight, whoever won it. So it was either Stipe or DC, which is quite interesting. And you fast forward to now, they couldn't get the DC fight. Now we're going back again to do the Stipe fight. But it'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of that, because I've got a feeling Stipe beats DC. But that's a different story.
That's a different story, and that won't happen anyway.
But our man Brock Lesnar, he has had 5 fights, 3 losses, and 1 no contest, and he began his career all the way back in 2007.
So do you know where he was in his wrestling career at that stage?
So back in 2007, I think he was probably the 2nd highest paid wrestler at the time.
A champion?
He was not the champion. So at the time, he was having a feud with Goldberg.
That bald-haired dude from the WCW.
Yeah, man. Goldberg was the man, and he still is the man.
How old is he?
He's in his 50s now.
50? Are you sure it's not older?
Nah, 50s, maybe mid-50s. He just had a fight with, or not a fight, you don't call wrestling fights. He had a match with The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia.
In an outdoor arena or something?
Yeah, it was. It was like 40 degrees, and it was the botch mania. So, speaking in wrestling terms now, like a botch is when they go for a move and they literally botch it up, and someone gets really badly hurt.
Oh, so it's a bad thing because somebody got hurt.
Yeah, so Goldberg's match with The Undertaker was botch mania. So Goldberg went for a spear in the opening 2 seconds and smashed his head into the turnbuckle, busted his fucking top of his eyebrow, and he was done for the entire match. Undertaker tried to chokeslam him and ended up almost dislocating his own shoulder doing it, and they just called the match off. It was the most
I've never seen or
thing.
even heard that before.
Yeah, it was one of the worst. And WWE swept it under the rug pretty quickly.
The only time I ever remember was what was that? One of the Hart brothers that fell from the roof back in the day.
Owen Hart.
Yeah, and he died in the ring, and everybody was nobody knew what was going on, if it was a joke or not a joke, but if it was a part of the show or not.
Yeah, it's called a work. So
a work is when they know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's like a work or no, the work's the only one I really know. But yeah, like Chael Sonnen uses work. Like, it's the work is the fix, you know. that wasn't a fix. That guy legit died, broke his neck, falling off the top of the cage.
So there's not too many works in MMA, is
Nah,
there?
zero. I hope.
People love to batter my beautiful pride with the word works and fixes and paid off.
It's not far from the truth.
But man, Brock, he fought in Japan, right? So was he done any work? What was his first? His first
No,
fight?
his first fight was in LA. It was with a Japanese promotion, Dynamite.
Oh, but that was in LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dynamite did they were famous for the K1 cards and the big New Year's Eve cards and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah, so he fought a guy named Min Soo Kim. And I don't know what let's have a look what Min Soo's been up to since...
look at his record.
44 years old.
Okay.
Got a bit
He was well older than Brock. Brock would have been in his 20s.
Wow, he had a... Actually, his record's not too bad. He's 3-7. For a heavyweight, that's not bad.
After how many fights did he lose after Brock? Or how many fights did he lost before Brock?
He won... Well, it's funny you say that. He beat Sean O'Hare and Yoshihiro Yamamoto, which is...
You mean Kid Yamamoto?
Nah, not Kid Yamamoto.
Oh, no,
different Yamamoto.
You get from the Yamamoto family of Yamamotos.
But, fuck. Actually, he got bashed, man. So, he was 2-3 back in 2006 before he fought Brock. He fought Semi Schilt, Don Fry, Mighty Mo, then lost to Brock Lesnar. And then he won a fight. His next fight was a win.
So this guy was actually not a complete bum for a first MMA fight for Brock.
His first two MMA fights were against Bob Sapp and Ray Sefo, who are no slouches. Talk shit about Bob Sapp all you want, but he back then in 2005 he was.
And
that
would have been a big fight for Bob. That would have been huge.
So Min Soo didn't turn out to be the great legend killer as he was.
The Gracie killer.
The Gracie killer. But it's funny, Brock's second ever fight was against Frank Mir back in 2008.
Yeah, UFC what, Dom?
81.
81, that's right.
And he lost to a knee bar.
The infamous knee bar.
It's pretty crazy. Like, guy's never done any grappling, or NCAA wrestler, but never done any jiu-jitsu or anything like that, and then he fights Frank Mir.
Frank was canning that he would just lay on top of him, have his legs spread so he could dive under for that knee bar, right?
Yeah, and
that's exactly what happened if I kind of remember correctly.
And did you notice how the UFC don't ever talk about that? When you talk about Brock Lesnar, you never think about his first loss. We only think about the time he beat...
the highlights of Conor getting beat up by Nate.
They never do.
They don't play that highlight, do they? They play the second highlight when he hits him and nearly knocks him over. But anyway, that's
a different story, eh? But yeah, and then so he lost to Frank Mir by a knee bar, and then he won a unanimous decision against Heath Herring.
Yeah, that was a good fight. Heath is legit too, even at that stage, man. Heath was a big pride guy. Heath fought some good guys. So I remember that was the first time I'd kind of heard about Brock after the Heath Herring fight, or really kind of took notice. Because I guess I didn't pay any attention after the first loss to Frank Mir because that was nothing. But yeah, the Heath Herring fight was pretty legitimate.
And might I add, that was in his hometown as well, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
The home of the Death Clutch.
That's it. So, I mean, he had the home ground advantage. But yeah, won a unanimous decision. So he went the full 3 rounds.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I remember that fight pretty clearly. And it wasn't no fight that he was given a gift decision or anything.
No.
He definitely beat Heath.
So at that point in his career, in 2008, he was 2-1 as a mixed martial artist. Now you're pretty well versed in the sport of mixed martial arts. How many fights do you reckon you need before you have a look at getting a title shot? Don't worry about wins or losses. How many fights do you reckon?
Fights? A minimum of 8 to 10.
8 to 10 fights before a title in the largest promotion in the world.
Even at that stage, in the early days of the UFC, at least 5. At least in the UFC.
Well, would it surprise you if I told you that his next fight was against Randy Couture at UFC 91 for the UFC heavyweight title?
No, it definitely doesn't surprise me. But the biggest thing it doesn't surprise me with is that maybe because it was the heavyweight belt and how many heavyweights are there even today?
There aren't many, but still, they've got more than 3 fights.
Yeah, I know. But actually, I think the heavyweight belt's been passed around more than any other belt. Is that true?
I'll probably say the light heavyweight belt.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon way more champions. I mean, you can sort of look back and count the heavyweights on one hand, whereas the light heavyweights, if we were to start from John Jones and go backwards...
But Jones has been a reigning champion for a long time, and then you had superstars like Shogun.
But there was a period in the light heavyweight division where I think the title changed within like 3 fights. It was 3 separate fights and 3 separate title changes. It went from Rashad to Rampage to Shogun to Machida.
Machida, yeah. But since then, it hasn't changed a whole lot. So if you look at it over like the last 20 years, let's say, or the early 2000s,
yeah,
or not even the early 2000s, 2008, 2009, the last 10 years, the heavyweight belts probably change hands more frequently. Because what? So there was... You had Randy to Brock, and then what? And then Brock fought. He defended that against Shane Carwin. He defended that against. Who else did he defend it against? He defended against Shane Carwin, and then he had the Overeem fight after the Shane Carwin fight. But he'd lost the belt. So where did he lose the belt then? Because he didn't, or he vacated the belt.
He may have vacated it.
Yeah, because he got the sickness, that sickness.
Diverticulitis.
That's the one in his stomach I was going to say. Because, yeah, that fight with Overeem wasn't for a belt.
So I've got the records here. So there's been 20, not 20 champions, but 20 defenses of the heavyweight title, right? And for the light heavyweight, there's been... Hold on, let me get my scroller going. Well, there's been 14, so you're pretty spot on. The Gypsy, he's never wrong.
The Gypsy is never wrong.
He can't be wrong.
Nah, but I just you're right though. It did change hands super frequently.
Yeah.
And then pretty much since the Machida era, and then Shogun, because Machida Shogun fought twice. The first fight was real close. The second fight, Shogun knocked him out. Then Shogun defended against Jones, and then that happened, and then it's been consistent since. It's been Jones since then, yeah. Well, if you want DC, yeah,
Jones and DC.
But I mean, it's consistently been thing. But yeah, the heavyweights kind of like chopped and changed. Look, I've had a champion like Stipe Miocic. Like, what the? I still don't rate him.
It's hard.
You know
it's
what?
Hard.
He makes me wrong every time. I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
But I still don't rate him.
I'm looking forward to his next fight. I really am. Just the height difference alone. I can't believe how big a height difference it is. But let's take a trip down memory lane. UFC 91. We've got Randy Couture, who was the natural at the time, still is the natural.
The natural
versus Brock Lesnar, who is juiced out of his mind here. Let's get the Gypsy's reaction on how this one played out.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch this fight and we're gonna react to it live for you. So if you want to join along on Fight Pass, we're watching UFC 91 at the moment, and we're gonna kind of go back and look at some of Brock's fights here.
I never got to watch any of these fights because I was too poor to afford Foxtel. But thanks to UFC Fight Pass, we can take a trip down memory lane.
Thanks for the whole $10 a month, right? Like, look at Brock here. Like, he's huge. Look at Randy. Like, Randy was a light heavyweight.
That's crazy, man.
Like, they don't even look like they're the same. Like, in the same. They don't even look like they're one weight close apart. Like,
Brock's had that penis tattoo on his chest for years, man.
And Randy's got that concave chest.
Here we go.
Kind of like George Soteropoulos. Shout out Jesus.
Here we go. They're about to touch gloves.
Yeah, like, I don't... Yeah.
Do you miss the sponsors on the shorts?
I do miss the sponsors on the short. I miss the sponsorship everywhere. I think those guys lost a lot of money because of those sponsorships. But look at this, man. Like, Randy's kind of tying him up. He's, like, working his dirty boxing. And I guess, like, what, is Brock going to fire a knee here? I don't remember this fight too much, to be absolutely honest. There we go. Brock fires the knee. You know what I mean? Like... You know, he doesn't look comfortable unless he's got a hold of someone.
And I think Randy, this is Randy's game. Like, he was was it Greco-Roman? Was his style, or was it freestyle? He's a freestyle wrestler.
But he was an Olympian, right?
I think he tried. I don't think he got into the Olympics. But you know, this is Randy's position. He loved this over-under sort of setup. But Brock, man, look at those arms, man.
Yeah, but look at the size of his back. He was like on a fucking whole nother level,
dude. The all juice diet, man.
The all juice diet. And like at this stage, like, was there even testing? Like, this is not even that old. What year was this?
2008.
Is this 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
So I started like religiously watching the UFC in 2009.
This was my last year of high school. I was only a little boy. I was only 17.
You were only 17? 2009. I was a bit older than that.
Yeah, just a couple of years older.
But, like, yeah, I mean, like, Brock got hit there, and, it, like, you know, Randy kind of hit him nicely, and he didn't flinch too much, actually. He looks... He looked kind of comfortable. I think that after that fight with Velasquez, that kind of fucked him up.
Who?
Brock getting hit.
Yeah, absolutely. That changed him.
Because that was
That would change
hold on,
it. That would change
was
anybody.
that before the Overeem fight?
That was before the Overeem fight. Yeah.
That's
It
oh,
was.
or did he lose? Did he lose the?
Yeah,
the
he
belt
lost the
there?
title. Yeah, he
Sorry,
lost the title to
I
Kane.
was wrong. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get called out on that. Or
Yeah.
someone. But that doesn't matter. But yeah, no, he lost it to in the fucking Mexican showdown.
Now you got Brock pressing Randy up against the cage. What do you think Randy's thinking right now? He's thinking, "Fuck, why did I take this fight?"
Yeah, but you know what? Now that they're kind of close together, he doesn't look all that. He's tall. Randy's tall though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he doesn't look tiny, but like Brock's back. I mean, Brock's on him now, and like Randy has him in like half guard. It's not even a half guard. He just kind of got like the bottom hook over like Brock's leg, but Brock can't even pass.
No, he's not trying to. Doesn't look like it.
But he's not even trying to beat him up.
There we
he's
go.
moving to mount.
Trying to go mount now.
Nah. Mate, I've seen white belts in the gym have better control move to mount than Brock just did.
Gee, Randy's on top
Randy
now. He just
turned-
swept him.
How did Randy turn that around?
Just swept him. Look, he's got the ankle grip there, and he's pulling him down up against the cage. Brock's starting to gas here,
Brock's
man.
starting to
He's
gas.
gassing hard. That's the thing, folks. Steroids don't give you cardio.
Mate, they're beach muscles. Like, that eat up oxygen.
There
Like,
we
I
go.
don't pretend to know about science, but I know that they're no good.
All strength jiu-jitsu right now.
But
Brock
then
is just
he
on
did hit
top.
the battle ropes lots in those cutscenes for in the his own death clutch gym,
Man,
right?
if it wasn't for battle ropes, CrossFit wouldn't exist.
I think Brock was the person who introduced me to battle ropes.
Me too, 100%.
Watching those cutscenes
I was
from
like,
the UFC.
that is the best thing ever. And then I did it, and I'm like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, you were in the Renegade video. Were you doing it in the Renegade video?
I was. I was in the I was a promo boy back in the day.
It's like the 2010. Was that when the gym opened?
Yeah,
right?
it was. It was one of the first videos. But
Didn't you? And you hit the
tie with the
and
sledgehammer.
Brock did that too.
I was Brock Lesnar back in the day. I was basically the Western Suburbs version of Brock Lesnar.
You are a wrestling fan who come to MMA.
I literally wanted to draw a penis on my chest, but yeah.
Do you think he's got that lasered off by now?
He's keeping it, man. He loves that shit. So if anyone doesn't know, Google Brock Lesnar and just look at his chest tattoo. It looks like a giant penis, but it's actually a set of knuckle dusters with a sword.
What I feel like should be like a real scary moment in this fight with Brock on top of Randy or on anyone is not really that great. I mean, Brock just can't control. For someone so big and who wrestled in his life where your whole point was to get him flat on their back, he can't keep Randy down. Like, he can't keep him flat. He has no control. This is like the second or third time Randy's got up from the bottom when Brock has been...
But this is you got to keep in mind, this is Brock Lesnar's third ever MMA fight.
Yeah, but he wasn't a striker, Dom. He was
Yeah,
always a wrestler. So if
that's
there's
true.
anything you should be able to do is have a base from the top, right?
I just wonder how hard people were pushing him at the gym at the time. Like, who was in the gym with him, absolutely smashing him away?
Pat Barry.
Who's about 5'0" and a kickboxer.
Yeah, but hey, I would think he would have wrestlers. That's his background.
He must have. I think he had a couple of guys from the Ultimate Fighter.
You know what? And think about it too. Like, in all the fighters that have been wrestlers, what's one thing you can always count on? That they'll smother you from the top, right?
100%.
Even if they can't punch or kick.
Look at this. Randy's trying to pick up 132 kilos of just pure juice. And we're going in the second round. Jesus Christ.
I mean, it was an uneventful first round.
It was boring. It was batshit.
Actually, do you know what? It wasn't that uneventful because Randy defended everything Brock gave him, and I'm not even going to say threw at him because I don't even know if Brock really even threw a punch.
Nah,
One
didn't
or
look
two.
like it.
Nah, he didn't, right? But he couldn't just control from the top. Like, that was the crazy thing.
Look at him. He's got no idea.
Yeah, he
He's
looks
got
fucking
no
gassed.
fucking idea. This guy.
Look at like he's taken, for everyone who can't see, which you can't because you're listening to us, but he's taken these massive breaths in the corner sitting on his chair, and he doesn't even really look comfortable. And I guess like coming out into this second round, which I don't really remember this fight. I remember the outcome, and I remember there was lots of clinching, like, and that's about all I remember for him.
It's pretty interesting. He's got Robert Drysdale in his corner.
Yeah, because Robert Joe used to be the jiu-jitsu coach at Extreme Couture.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I think Drysdale would have had his own gym, because Drysdale's got a world-famous jiu-jitsu gym out of Las Vegas.
Yeah. They must cross-train. They must cross-train. Maybe at the time. This is a long time ago now. Randy looks fresh as anything. Brock is sweating like a pig. Look at him.
Yeah, Brock looks he doesn't even want to be there coming into this second round.
Murray Yamasaki, the worst referee of all time.
The love heart man.
Oh, God, he's shit. Look at this.
Look, I mean,
Oof.
that was... I've seen kids throw a better jab on their first night.
He's rocked
he just rocked Randy with an elbow, kind of John Jones style, like where it comes across his. He used it as a punch, not even like as a.
He didn't mean that. He just
You
got
don't
lucky
reckon
with
he
that shit.
meant
There's
that?
no way, man. That's years of training. He's done like 5 minutes of training at this stage. I'm surprised Randy wanted to tie him up.
But Randy's thing was dirty boxing.
He hasn't thrown a punch yet, by the looks of it.
Well, I mean, that's one thing Brock has done well. He doesn't want to get punched, so he's using that overhook kind of like in this fight while he presses against him, right? And look at that head control.
You got to think too. This is a massive pay per view. I think this was the first time UFC drew over 1 million pay per views.
Wow. I mean, and this fight. This was the first time that he headlined a fight too. I would say
Main card,
main
event.
card,
Yeah,
main event.
yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, hold on, no, unless UFC. Nah, yeah, this would have been because he'd only lost that. Oh, and he just landed this big knee on Randy. I don't know.
He's getting confident. There we go. Look at that. Ooh, slip and move by Brock. Boom. Randy's got to throw some kicks. They didn't throw a lot of leg kicks back in the day, did they?
Oh, yeah, but I think they was worried about getting taken down. But I'm like, fuck, what you saw from Brock in the first round, he's got no control.
No.
I'm surprised how little control he had earlier on here. I mean, the worst I ever saw him control someone, really, was Mark Hunt.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Do you know, like, who else did he control? I mean, he mounted Shane Carwin in that first round and kind of gassed himself out. But besides that, I don't really remember. Please tell me if we're wrong in the comments below.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe as always.
like you know, if you can remember a time where Brock was just dominating constantly from the ground, and I'm just talking about control. Like, especially anyone who's done any jiu-jitsu or wrestling before, I'm like, if you guys go back and have a look at even just the highlights from this fight, like, Brock had no control. He looked all over the place. That said, what fight was this? His third
ever
MMA fight?
Randy's looking pretty good here. He's actually looking really good.
I think Randy was comfortable that he knew that Brock couldn't throw a great punch and that, like, if he couldn't control him on the ground, he couldn't throw a punch, and he can't submit him, what can you do besides push him around a cage?
Nah, nothing.
And that's all Brock's done, is kind of like let Randy lean on him.
But see, like, even here, Brock's not fighting for an underhook. He's going for an overhook. I don't know.
He's tying up that overhook just so he doesn't get punched, because he just fucking hated to get punched, right?
Here we go. There we go, knee. Muay Thai.
Yeah,
here we go. All right, they're back in the center of the cage. The good old Bud Light yoga. Oh,
what was that?
What?
I think
was that an uppercut?
I don't know. Look, there's the hammer punches.
Brock is hammering the shit out of Randy Couture right now.
I don't think I've seen anyone throw those fucking light-ass hammy punches.
Look at this. Oh, my God. Come on, man. That is bullshit.
Do you know what? If I saw that fight, I would fight that Brock Lesnar.
I'd call up Foxtel and ask for my $60 back, man. That's ridiculous. I would not pay for that.
I would get in the cage with that Brock Lesnar. That doesn't scare me. And people might say I'm talking shit. If you told me tomorrow I had to go and fight that Brock Lesnar, I'll do it.
So if there's anyone out there who's got contacts with Brock Lesnar, please send me the details. I'll pay the money.
What scares me is fighting in front of that many people.
Oh, we'll do it in the gym. We'll do it Gracie style.
100%.
In the gym.
That doesn't scare me.
He'll do it too. No cameras, doors locked.
Mate, he can't control me. Like, what could he do? Overhook my arm? As long as I don't cop an elbow to a face or a knee. He liked a knee breaking that out of that clinch, yeah?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch this.
Here we go.
So what? He slips a jab and gets caught with a cross?
There was a cross over the top of the ear. Like, what's that called?
Yeah, the equilibrium.
Equilibrium. There we go.
And I think that's what it was, because he didn't drop like... I mean, he didn't like stanky leg like he was out. Because he's... Look, and then what happens is Brock drops him, he jumps on him, and then just repeatedly hammer fists him from side control. And it was like the weakest fucking hammer fist you've ever seen, to be honest.
And it's safe to say after this fight, this is when he became the biggest star in MMA.
Yeah, well, you now have the UFC marketing machine saying, like, oh, you just beat the heavyweight champion, and I mean, Randy Couture, a legend in the sport, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what else? What other better promoting do you get? And he's still a star in wrestling at this stage, right?
He's still probably...
Is he still wrestling?
No. So he was the second biggest star in wrestling at the time. All right, back in the... We're talking
okay,
early
so
2000s.
but is he still the second biggest star in wrestling even during this time? Do you
Yeah,
think?
I'd say so. Because you got to remember too, you can look it up. A lot of fight videos and stuff, or fight events. A lot of WWE stars there. You had guys like The Rock, The Undertaker. You had Goldberg there. You know, you had guys coming to these events and supporting it. And I remember a couple of times WWE actually posted saying Brock Lesnar's fighting at this time and date. whatnot. So they were sort of co-branding with each
Yeah,
other.
because what would have happened is Brock would have still been under contract with the WWEF, whatever it was called at that stage.
Yeah.
And they would have got money out of Brock fighting here. They would have had to give permission to Brock to fight. Same way that Conor fought Floyd.
Yeah.
And I heard the breakdown was something like the UFC got 70% of his purse and Floyd got 30%. The UFC got 70% of Conor's purse and he got 30%. Conor got the 30%. Which was still a fuckload of money, because the UFC had to sign off for him fighting.
Yeah, 100%.
So I guess that's why they were promoting it.
After that Randy fight, Brock went on to defend his UFC heavyweight championship against Frank Mir, who'd previously beaten him by knee bar.
So this was a rematch, what? 2 fights? How many people
Two fights later.
Yeah, who gets a rematch this close, especially when you lost?
Well, if I was Frank Mir, I'd take this
Look
fight.
how good condition Frank Mir looks, too. So this is
TRT.
UFC 100. This was a huge card. What? GSP fought Thiago Silva on this card.
Just to give you an idea of pay-per-views, right?
BJ Penn fought who on this card?
I know Bisping was on the card against Dan
Bisping.
Henderson.
Wow, that's probably the greatest knockout since like the Masvidal. It's exactly the same. He caught him and then jumped on him and was criticised like Masvidal.
So did this pay-per-view did 1.3 million buys.
We're talking about UFC 100, yeah?
UFC 100.
Open it up. Let's do a quick rundown on the card.
Let's
Because
do it.
I'm pretty sure GSP fought Thiago Silva.
Thank you,
Not
NBN.
Thiago Silva. Whatever. I've got it wrong. Someone's going to call me out.
All right, so do I start from the bottom, work my way up?
Yeah, just the main card.
All right, the main card, middleweight, Yoshihiro Akiyama versus Alan Belcher.
Sexy Akiyama.
John Fitch.
That was a good fight. That was a good fight, actually.
John Fitch versus Paulo Thiago.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping. And GSP versus Thiago Alves.
Thiago Alves, not Thiago Silva. I apologise.
Yeah, so GSP was the champion back then.
So you see, that fight was a welterweight fight that overranked this fight.
Yeah, they used to put the heavyweights on top of the card. So whoever the heavier fighter was for the title.
Except on this card, right?
No, Brock was at top.
Oh, still Brock was the top. Sorry, I thought
Brock
you were
was
reading the way you were reading it. Okay.
Bro, John Jones was on this card.
Yeah, who did he fight?
Jake O'Brien.
Yeah. How did it end? Was it crucifix?
Modified guillotine choke.
Okay.
Which
I don't
is
know if I
which is a
remember that
polite
too.
way of saying really sloppy guillotine choke when they call it modified.
Was he on the? It was on the.
Prelims.
Damn, he was on UFC 100, huh? I don't
Yeah.
remember that. Absolutely don't remember
Because
that.
it was a big thing. He was the only fighter to be on UFC 100 and UFC 200, but he never made it to 200. But that's another episode. John Jones is another episode.
John
Has
Jones
to be.
is another
Has to
episode.
be.
Wow, Brock Lesnar standing right here. We've just got UFC 100 rolling with his fight with. About to start here with our mate Frank Mir. He has an MMA record of 3-1. He's the current UFC heavyweight champion.
And that one loss was to Frank Mir. by
That
knee
one
bar.
loss, yeah, and he's about to. Well, actually, I won't spoil how this fight plays out for anyone who's really
Just in
excited.
case you didn't know. Just in case you're living under a rock at the time. Which I actually wasn't a fan of MMA back then.
Man, I just can't believe in how good shape Frank Mir was and how big he got after this. Because Brock introduced the massive, like the birth of the huge heavyweight.
Yep.
So Frank Mir put on a lot of weight after this. Shane Carwin got huge after this.
They didn't get huge. They were already huge.
Yeah, but they. Oh, yeah, okay, but they stayed huge, and then they cut down. So like you look at Frank here. You know he's got these ankle wraps on. Like he wants one thing, and it's a submission. Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu, black belt, very high level black belt. One of the best in MMA heavyweight
And he's
history.
got a sick perm too. Look at those curls, man. They
Ooh.
get the girls.
Here we go.
Like he
Oh,
rolled
rolling
straight.
knee bar.
He rolled straight for
Rolling
that
knee
knee bar.
bar.
Like Brock clinched with him, and he rolled straight underneath him. Look at that. He's got the leg over the shoulder. That's a Kimura. That was a Kimura setup.
There's nothing technical about this right now.
Nah.
It's just scrambling. It's just
Like
Brock.
I said, look at this here. Brock's got a bit better control from the top here. Like he's got a bit of a rape choke going on there. Like,
Whoa. Zombie choke.
Zombie
it's got
choke.
a zombie choke.
Sorry, a zombie choke. there.
Zombie choke.
But he still can't hold anyone. Like I'm not even gonna pretend it's hard to hold it. That it's easy to hold a jiu-jitsu black belt down, especially someone as seasoned as Frank Mir. But
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar's 130 kilos, man. Look at the size of him.
yeah,
His back is massive. Oh, Jesus.
I think he's bigger in this fight than he was in the
Yes,
last fight.
yeah, 100%. I reckon this
What's the time difference? What year is this?
So this was a year later. This was in July.
2009, yeah?
2009.
Yeah, I saw this card.
This is crazy.
I remember watching this card.
Frank Mir's got sort of like a lockdown setup on the bottom, like a 10th Planet style.
Shout out to our buddy Frank.
Shout out to the 10th Planets. Well, yeah, Brock's got his head in his chin now, and he's just trying to drive forward. Doesn't really know what he's doing from here.
He
You
still
can
doesn't
tell.
know what he's doing, yeah? You would think. And hey, to be honest, I'm actually really surprised. This is how scared Brock was of getting punched. He's still wants to be in his guard on the ground with Frank Mir. It's surprising, though,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Because I wouldn't want to be here.
He just doesn't want to be standing, I don't think.
Nah, that's how scared he was of getting hit.
Well, I don't know what's happening right now. It's not jiu-jitsu, it's not wrestling. He's sort of got like a reverse headlock on him on top in half guard. And now he's just throwing punches at his armpit by the looks of it. I don't think he's hitting his face.
Is he even really hitting him? Like, I mean, this is how basic he's let's call it grappling. He doesn't have a submitted set up. The only reason he's still in half guard on top of Frank Mir is because Frank Mir's holding the half guard, not because he's staying there. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. Frank doesn't really want to force a scramble because I think he knows Brock will just
Yeah.
spaz out on him.
And that's where probably Brock wants to be. And like then he's got like this 4-year-old headlock that a dude on the street would put on you when he's just like kind of.
Have you ever been punched in the armpit before?
No.
I don't know why he's doing it. Again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start punching people in the armpits, see what it's like. It must be soft.
If someone gets you caught in their half guard.
Oh, I'm gonna start punching out the shit out of their armpit.
I don't know. Like, I just can't believe how basic his top game. Like, looking at it now, maybe because like I'm an expert grappler and stuff, and I know a bit more. But like this just doesn't look appetizing in any way. And I mean, but then again, to be honest, Frank Mir's been lying on his back for approximately 3 minutes. So. But I think that's got more to do that he refuses to let go of the half guard. I think if he let go of the half guard and got to his side, he might have got up out of this.
100%.
But maybe he doesn't want to let him pass to here. So for everyone who can't see again, like Brock's just kind of laying in side control, but still caught one leg in half guard. But he's pretty much in. Oh.
He's gone for that armpit again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude. Oh, here we go. Now he's hitting the body. That's better.
Yeah, he's not even like going body head though. He's just working Frank's body. And what's that going to do from the ground? Like, is he hoping that like that's going to let out? Like,
it's just an awkward position for like he's not passing, he's not getting swept, and his weight is just in a really good spot at the moment. So I don't see how anyone's benefiting from this. He's probably he's up on the scorecard. That's probably about it.
Well, yeah, 100%. Okay, we should remember that too. There is a scorecard in MMA, and he's definitely scoring in MMA here.
Back in 2009, I'm sure the judges were experts in grappling and all sorts of martial arts.
I guess I don't even know if you call this grappling though. I mean, like you've just got Frank Mir on the bottom. Brock got his.
He's got his hand over his mouth now.
Yeah,
Look at
do that.
Can you in MMA?
Yeah.
Oh man, no touching of the hair in the face. That's my one rule. 2 rules actually, but yeah, he just had his hand in his mouth and shit.
What over his mouth or in his mouth?
No, it was like his like little finger went in his mouth. That's fucked.
I don't know.
Here we go. Oh, there you go. Look, he's full palming him in the face.
He's still doing that quote unquote zombie choke.
Zombie choke. Here we go.
But then again, I'm writing him off. But for 4.5 minutes, Frank just got pummeled with these pillow punched hands that Bisping used to have, that now Brock has like in his face.
Look at Frank's left knee. Look how much tape he's got on. I reckon he went to this fight injured for sure.
Maybe you know what, that might be real true.
That's probably why he's locked him down in the half guard. His knee is so taped up.
He didn't move from the bottom. He didn't even try to switch hips and come out.
He probably doesn't have any power in that knee to sort of elevate him up, which is what he probably wanted to do. Elevate, go underneath and roll for the knee bar. Look, when he comes out of his corner, just check out how much tape he's got. I've never seen that much tape in an MMA fighter.
What about G-Sots?
G-Sots, man. R.I.P. R.I.P. G-Sots. The one who didn't get his chance.
You never went on not many 2 fighters go on a streak like that.
10 fights, was it?
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, but he was the only other fighter legitimately that I can think of that come out dressed up in that much tape. Yeah. And like purely for jiu-jitsu to be able to catch a grip on it, right?
You know what I miss? These like corner shirts. The corner shirts are so good like back here. Like they got all the sponsors on it. They got Death Clutch.
Brock was
oh man,
by one of the biggest supplement companies ever, Dymatize. I use Dymatize like that, and because of Brock,
you get your steroids from Dymatize too.
Yeah, I'm always hoping for a tainted supplement. I still haven't got one.
That's all we want. All these fighters get tainted supplements, and what do we get? We don't get shit.
Look how comfortable Frank looks. So the fight just restarted, and now they're beating up on her feet, and Frank just kind of got thrown.
Dude, Frank's injured, man.
You know what? I think you're really true here, and you know what? We could probably Google and find out that it was.
He would never say. Frank's too stubborn. He would never
Frank's
say.
Frank's just coming forward, throwing shoulder punches, like not turning his body.
Oh, jumping knee.
Yeah, he just
jumping knee.
He just hit Brock with a jumping knee while Brock was clinching him. Anyone else would have knocked him back. I think there was the angle that he got hit with looked better than it actually connected with.
Yeah. My memories of Brock Lesnar are really warped by watching these fights because I never pictured him making it out of the first round ever. But we've just watched 2 fights now and we're deep into the second.
Yeah, sometimes you need to go back and rewatch fights because you dress them up in your mind as being these fantasies of excellent fights, and they are good fights, all one-sided. Even when Gina Carano fought
Ronda.
Cyborg. Yeah,
Yeah.
that fight was competitive to an extent. It wasn't a one-sided beatdown that everyone. That fight always comes to mind because people at that stage, she got beat. Nah, man, go back and watch it. It wasn't as terrible as it remembered.
So Brock right now is on top in half guard. They're right up against the cage. Frank's not doing much at all, and Brock's just smashing away.
Yeah, if I want to hope that Frank's injured because I'm just surprised at how much he let him.
Look at that leg, man. Look at it. He's 100% injured. I think this is where they stop the fight.
This is where they stop the fight.
These were actually legit punches.
Imagine Frank's back up against the cage with Brock Connor leaning in chest to chest on him and just throwing uppercut punches into Frank's face, and
there you go.
Yeah,
he just defended his title, man.
I honestly think that Frank was that he was injured. Oh, that's right. I remember this.
They hated each other.
They hated each other. Brock Connor does a bit of a diva thing here, wrestling style. Look at him.
He's crazy, man. He's absolutely
He's starting
crazy.
to believe his own hype at this stage.
Yeah, look at him. He's giving the double birds to the crowd. He's like, fuck you. I'm the champ. And he just beat, arguably one of the best heavyweights.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. I guess he got to get a win back. Not many fighters that close too. You know what I mean? We're only talking 2 events. Was it 2 events?
Yeah, 100%. They were back to back.
UFC 87,
and
I think it was.
Yep, 87 and 91.
And then he fought. Yeah, so he fought Frank at UFC 87, and then rematched at UFC 100, which really wasn't that far apart. What, a year?
Oh no, sorry. UFC 81 was Frank.
81, not 87.
87 was Heath Herring, and 91 was Randy Couture.
But still not that far apart to get a rematch. Guys usually get rematches years down the track.
This fight really transcended mixed martial arts into sort of attempted to get into the mainstream sporting world.
Just because of the coverage Brock has, right?
100%. And, a lot of people quick to hang shit on Brock, but you've sort of got to thank him for bringing mixed martial arts into the new era.
He did a lot of good for the sport, and he did a lot of bad for the sport. So the good was he did put it in a lot of places that would never have been seen before. But the bad portion of it was there was a lot of questions is this bullshit because Brock is a wrestler, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And to be honest, the good outweighed the bad, but the bad was there because
it was still there.
It was still there.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was supposed to be the fastest growing sport at the time, right? That was the big title.
And that's what Uncle Dana always used to say it. And here we go. The title belt gets strapped on him.
On that terrible Death Clutch t-shirt
Oh, man,
he's wearing.
mad. It's so good. Look at all the skulls on it. Our mates at Renegade Art Society, Mr. Pedro, would love that. Love all the skulls.
You know
mate.
what? He just got the belt put around him. I like the old belt.
I do. I love the old belt. The new belt's rubbish. It looks like a Power Rangers fucking belt.
It does. It's just clean and gold. And I'm surprised that fits him.
Are we going to listen to the interview?
Are we?
Nah, don't worry about it.
I mean, Joe Rogan had hair.
Yeah, can't trust the hairy Joe Rogan.
Can't trust the hairy Joe Rogan.
Should make that into a t-shirt. Don't trust the hairy Joe Rogan. So let's sort of fast forward. That was 2 of the biggest fights in his career, and he had a third massive fight.
Let's give a timeline in the years.
So here we are. That was 2009. Now we fast forward to 2010, where he fought Shane Carwin. Are we gonna watch that fight?
The Shane Carwin fight? Yeah, we are.
Right.
But are we going to watch this first?
All right. So,
no, we should do it in a timeline.
All right. We're watching the Lesnar Carwin fight. Now, this was his toughest fight by a mile.
Yeah, this was the fight. I'm like, no fuck. This is the fight. I think that either me and Carwin got into a fight on Twitter afterwards.
Please give us a backstory on that, please.
I might have been after because I was talking about this was the strange thing, right? I was talking about heavyweights to someone on Twitter. And I didn't even tag Carwin, and we were talking about the rankings of heavyweights. Carwin somehow found my tweet, because he must have been searching his own name, right? And then starts to respond to me to ask that how I couldn't include him in the top 5 or top 3 heavyweights at the time, and I proceeded to tell him what was wrong with him and his fighting in a nice way.
Coach Ash over here.
No, but why not? The internet has made people with an opinion haters. I'm just a person with an opinion. I'm not a hater. I rate Carwin as a fighter at that time, but whatever time I was talking about him, I think he was out with the injury. That's right. So I'm like, you can't count him. How can you count someone who's like
and this is the best part about being an MMA fan. You have that interaction with the fighters.
Earlier on,
you know, back in the day, you know, you don't get that in any other sport. And these guys are the deadliest people on the planet, but yet they'll talk to you.
Yo, they definitely. He seeked me out. I always love saying that because I don't think I tagged his name. He found me. Anyway,
just to paint a picture of the kind of guy Shane Carwin was. Now he had 12 fights with 2 losses.
Still worked a full-time job as an engineer, trained part-time.
And he was a full-blown steroid user. But that's a different story.
Oh, his name got caught up on that steroid list that came out after this fight?
Yep, he was dealing apparently. That's probably
why.
Was he?
No, he wasn't dealing.
All right, I just threw it in there. I just had to throw it in there.
Trevor Whitman was his coach too. Like, he came from a legitimate team.
So, Shane Carwin was on a tear. So he was 12-0, right, up until 2010. 2010, he was on 12 fight win streak, and they're all knockouts and finishes in the first round.
He was super impressive.
And he was
a guy who came from a wrestling background who could throw bombs.
Hurting bombs.
That's right.
Here we are, July 3rd, 2010, against Brock Lesnar.
Does Brock look bigger?
Yeah, man. Look at those Trapezosaurus Rex. Carwin's big too, man. Like, he's massive.
This was the birth. This was the era of the big heavyweight. Yeah.
So you don't have to watch the fights that we've put on, but if you're going to watch any of the fights, you need to watch this one. Okay. So this is UFC 116, Lesnar versus Carwin.
This was through my biggest days of UFC watching. I bought this card. I think I bought every card from UFC 101 to. Oh man, like.
This is probably the only time they actually wear the tape that matches their shorts.
Oh shit! I never noticed that.
Red shorts, red tape. This is crazy.
And you know, surprisingly, Brock wasn't scared to like stand for a bit, but soon as actually he waited really well because soon as Carwin threw that overhand right, he dived right under it and tried to take him down. It was unsuccessful.
And this did over 1 million pay-per-view buys as well.
I don't think Brock ever did a pay-per-view that was under a million pay-per-view buys.
Oh, his first 2 UFC fights.
Yeah, okay, but since he became the champion,
well, Lesnar over him. That's a different story, but that's a different chapter.
Yeah, you have to wait for another chapter for us to talk about that. I'd love to talk about
this.
Here we go. Look at the punches he took.
Boom.
He nearly did that super turny thing that he did with Cain Velasquez. Like, Shane Carwin's throwing everything at him. Like, I remember being at home like, this is over.
Oh my
God. Brock is running from him.
Carwin is just hammering down. And these aren't like pitter-patter shots. These are hard shots.
Brock is in a fucking fetus position, and he's just now somehow got to his back and kicked Carwin out of his way with like these up kicks, but Carwin's moved to side control.
How didn't they stop the fight? I don't get it. This is crazy.
Mate, I remember like screaming and my mum's going, what are you talking about? I'm like, the fight should have been stopped here. This was unreal. I'm like, how can you let this go on? The shit thing is, Brock's won fights by punches like this.
Yeah, 100%.
He just won the Frank Mir fight stopped because of those pitter-patter punches. And Carwin throwing bombs on him.
Oh man, I hate watching this shit.
I don't know if I've ever seen anyone get hit more besides maybe Frankie Edgar that didn't get a fight stopped.
Oh, 100%. And there's no like active guard recovery. There's no attempts to get to his side. There's nothing here. And Frank. Shane is just on top, just punching the shit out of him. Now he's stopped. He's sort of laying down, relaxing a bit. Yeah, but he's still in a dominant position, though. He's still in a dominant position.
We're like 2.5 minutes into this first round, and Shane's taking some big breaths, right? And I think this is where the tide starts to kind of turn. He throws these short elbows. I do remember that. But now Brock's actually getting punches up, right? But Brock again, look at him. Doesn't know anything about grappling. He's flat on his back. He's not on his side. He's not on his hip. He can't get up.
Do you know what he needed to do? He needed to punch him in the armpit. I reckon that would have stopped
from the bottom.
100%. Look at this. Here we go. He's on top now. And again, there's no active recovery here. There's nothing. He's not doing. He's shelling up now.
Explain what again and again means.
Just punches. Just smashing. Just smashing, man. These are hurting bombs. And I don't enjoy watching MMA when it's like this because it's just like it's such unnecessary
Look,
violence.
so Shane Carwin's just stepped away and pretty much going to look like he was going to let Brock up because he's just he's taken some big breaths. Yeah,
Brock doesn't know where he is right now.
This was the thing about the era of these massive heavyweights is how much cardio they forsake, like they let go because of how big they were.
Yeah, 100%, and that's why the era changed with Velasquez and guys like Steve Bay.
Velasquez was
DC.
the changing of that.
Velasquez was the changing of the guard. I think he was like 200 pounds when he fought Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, it was a bit of a joke.
Yeah,
really.
he could have made 205.
No, he was like he could have probably made 205. I don't know if it was that.
He was just quick.
Like in this era was guys who had to make 265, cut to make 265. So even Mark Hunt came through the UFC in this era and was cutting weight.
Do you know what Brock's walking around weight is?
What is it?
286.
280.
That's 130 kilos.
130 kilos. How tall is he? He's 6'2".
6'3". 6'3".
Okay.
191 centimeters.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's just a killing machine.
Have you ever seen him in person? Did
Nah.
you ever go to any wrestling events and see him?
He never came to Australia, man.
Okay.
Never saw him. I've been to plenty of wrestling events, but none with
So,
Brock Lesnar.
like, just for the sake of the fight that we have on in the background here, is like Carwin has gassed himself out at the 4-minute mark. We have Brock up using his forehead to push Carwin against the cage, and now slowly beat him up. And this is where the tides are turned. And this is where I'm sitting here back in 2000 and what year am I watching this? 2010. Am I watching this fight? Yeah, okay. And I'm sitting on my mum's couch, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, how did that fight not get stopped?
It doesn't work like this, surely.
It doesn't. I mean, and again, your mate Brock makes it out of the first round.
There we go. Look, he's gone for a takedown here. There we go.
Nah.
Now, we're getting to the second round now.
Like, yeah, I remember this, like, Trevor Whitman comes out, and it's just like, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
You know what? Full respect to Brock Lesnar. You know, most men wouldn't make it out to the second, and...
Look at this. This is we're just watching a highlight of the first round. Where actually Carwin's punches missed him all. Like, he just threw this kind of left hand, right, uppercut combination, but then he dropped the elbows on Lesnar while he was on top of him, and they still didn't stop it.
Look at Brock, man. His face is fucked up.
Yeah, Brock knows how gassed Carwin is.
Here we go. Ooh.
I remember this, and I remember just being stunned at what's about to happen. So we're in the second round. They're both standing in the middle of a cage here. And if you haven't seen it, like Dom said, you need to watch this fight. It's super interesting. Like, it's not even like a super exciting fight, but it's just an interesting fight for Brock Lesnar.
Meat versus meat. If you're a vegan, you probably won't enjoy it as much, but the meatheads in this fight is just fucking crazy.
Yeah, but the thing was, K1. Why do I keep calling K1? Shane was an engineer. He wasn't a meathead.
Look at the size of him.
Alright. He's size-wise, he's a meathead, I guess.
Look at like the back rolls on your neck. That's when you know they're on juice, man. They got like the rolls, like they got
Carwin's chest looks so big. Oh, that was the worst takedown ever. I think I hit a better takedown on you today in training today. My takedowns are terrible.
Here we go. So Brock's on top in half guard. Got the forearm across the face. Looking for a switch
on
base.
His side, like kind of.
He hasn't got locked in. He hasn't even got locked in. Shane's just like, fuck this. I wish I'd done more treadmill work.
How does he not even try a attempt for a Kimura here? Like Brock's got the underhook from the top and is using his free hand to like drop these tiny punches on his face.
Look, a bit of a crossface here from Brock.
Mate, I think he's using your pass. He's going to switch his hips here and try to pull his leg out the middle.
I should have copyrighted the pass.
Carwin's side control.
There you go, armpit. He went for the armpit there. I'm calling it. That was an armpit shot. That ended the fight. Fight's over, dude. Fight's over. There we go again. He's in for the armpit
shot.
That's it. Most underutilized tool in MMA, the armpit shot.
I'll try it next time I'm sparring.
Hey, see his logo, that Jimmy John's?
That was a sandwich shop.
I had no idea. You know that's on his WWE shorts as well?
It's on his thing. Oh, wow. So
Brock head arm choke. Head arm choke.
He went. That was really good actually, because Brock went from being in Shane Carwin's half guard to attempting to mount him to jumping fully over him, and then he locks up this arm triangle. Now I remember how much he struggles getting this arm triangle.
It's like a mud pie grip he's got.
Shane Carwin should be fucking answering the phone right now, but he's just like hanging out because I don't think he thought that Brock was going to get it right, he was just that gassed.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, the tap, and it's all over. That was Brock's toughest fight, man.
And Brock's myth and like legendary status in MMA, I say that very lightly, continues to grow. I mean, this is where I'm like, can I keep denying him? Like,
You can't.
you can't.
You can't.
After this
100%.
fight, I was like, whoa. I mean, like I'm guessing he beat Shane Carwin. Like, this was out of everyone. If I had to think about legitimacy because of where Shane Carwin was at the time, like
He was the guy to beat Brock. He was billed as the guy that was
Yeah.
going to take his title. 12 first
because
round finishes in a row.
But like, I don't know what if I remember if I thought that Velasquez was going to beat him.
He wasn't up there at the time, Velasquez. He wasn't a contender.
He's
at
a
the
little
time.
Mexican guy too.
Yeah, 100%. And look at that tap. Ooh.
You know what? That was not even a head and arm choke. That's just like a neck squeeze.
It wasn't a full lock. Like he wasn't grabbing his bicep. He sort of had
More
like
like
a
a
mud.
crank.
He had a mud pie grip and was just pulling and pulling and pulling. His lats were so big, man, just so big. And here we go. Still and still.
This is crazy. Like, you know, going back and actually having a look at these, like I haven't seen in so long, and being able to watch them with fresh eyes. It's kind of like, how did this guy, besides his status outside of the UFC and MMA, like, how did he legitimately rise? Like, I mean, he's barely beating these guys.
It'll never happen again. For MMA, this sort of circus won't ever happen again. You can't look at the skill level of fighters now and possibly think
Happened again. Fucking
Who?
What's his name fought in boxing?
Who? Floyd.
No.
Floyd and McGregor.
McGregor fought in boxing.
Yeah, but that's boxing.
Yeah, but it's the same shit though.
Hey,
The UFC wanted that boxing fight in the UFC.
yeah. I don't think it'll happen in MMA again. I don't think we'll have a big star
Are there
come
even
into
any,
MMA.
Are there even any wrestlers that you could say that could come across legitimately?
Like WWE wrestlers?
Yeah.
There's a guy called Jack Hager who was a world heavyweight champion in WWE. He's fighting in Bellator. He's 2-0 in Bellator.
Really? I've never heard of him.
Subbing guys out. He's doing pretty well. There aren't many because the money in WWE is just phenomenal now. Like Brock Lesnar now, like if you want to, let's break it down. So in a fight, he'd probably get $1 million for a fight.
Oh, at least.
For a fight, at least. Every time Brock Lesnar shows
And
up
a
to
pay-per-view cut.
and the cut, yeah. Every time Brock Lesnar shows up to a WWE pay-per-view, he gets $500,000, $500,000. Every time he shows up to a taping of Raw or SmackDown, he gets $100,000. So
Does
if
he
he
still turn up to these events?
sometimes he does.
Is
So
that
if
Paul Heyman? That's his
Paul
name?
Heyman's his manager. So if he rocks up to 4 Raws, right, in the month, and then rocks up to the pay-per-view at the end of the
in
month.
a month.
Yeah, 4 Raws in a month, and he rocks up to the pay-per-view at the end of the month, sorry. That's $1 million in a month. He does that for 12 months a year. He's never coming back to fighting, man. He's never coming back.
Hey, mate, he kept coming back though,
Well,
and he wasn't in the cage with DC that long ago. That was last year.
it was last year, but there was a bit of
I don't-
behind the scenes. You
yeah.
know, money talks, yeah? So the money that the UFC were going to offer him in comparison to the money that he would have gotten from WWE, there's no way he's coming back, man. There's no way he's coming back.
He doesn't need to come back. We don't need him.
So that was 2010. Shortly after that fight, Brock fought Cain Velasquez, in which he was TKO'd in the very first round.
So if you've seen that that ultimate GIF of him dancing around in circles,
We should repost that.
yeah, we should repost that.
We'll find it and
So we
repost
would
it.
definitely watch this fight, but there'll be a chapter on
Cain
Cain
Velasquez.
Velasquez. So we'll watch that as a part of
But-
his thing.
So
And
after,
the overring fight.
absolutely. So after this point in time, after he lost the title to Cain Velasquez,
2010.
2010, yeah. So Brock sort of took like a mini hiatus. He didn't really want to do MMA and he didn't want to do wrestling. But
He worked on that farm.
in Saskatchewan in Canada,
Okay.
with his wife Sable, who's also a WWE wrestler, had popped out 4 kids, just bang, 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 straight out.
Just power bombed them all.
F5, that's his move. The
Oh,
F5,
okay, is it? Oh.
the best.
Suplex City? Is that his
Yeah,
thing?
that's him too. Man, he's the best. He's so good at wrestling. I don't know why he left. He should have never left.
Not that great at MMA.
So between 2010 and 2012, he's sort of up in the air about what he wanted to do, and I think the game of MMA slowly passed him. The heavyweight division didn't pass him, but I think the marketing, the amount of fights that were happening each year sort of passed him. And in April 2012, he made his return back to WWE against the number 1 guy in the promotion at the time.
So we're gonna watch this clip here on YouTube.
Ash has never watched this. He never watches wrestling because he's a loser.
I watched the wrestling through the Attitude Era. Is that a fair thing to say? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, but you got to watch the shit now. The PG era.
and the Rock. I used to have wrestling t-shirts. I still buy them to resell. So if anyone's got any wrestling t-shirts today, hit me up.
Love a good wrestling tee. Yeah, crank the volume up with this one. This
All
is
right,
the best, man.
Let's see this. So I'm gonna react and I don't know what's happening. All I see is John Cena in a ring.
So I'll paint a picture. So John Cena's in the ring and he's basically said, I've beaten everyone. I've done it all. I don't need to win a title anymore. There's no one here. There's no one behind the curtain.
So he's addressing the crowd,
He's addressing the crowd saying there's no one that can fuck with this. He couldn't say fuck with this because it's PG era. But that's exactly what he's just said. And then boom. We play it. And now Brock Lesnar's music just hit. And the crowd are going bananas. Wait for this. Wait. All the middle-aged men in the crowd just going spastic right now.
Wow.
And they're playing his old Titran theme song.
He still looks good.
Look at that.
He still looks good. He's still juicing hard.
Everyone's going mental right now. Look at him. He's huge. Guys,
look at the grown men.
The grown men are kissing each other. They're like, we've just won the Tatslotto. And Brock is back, man.
Would anyone have ever thought that he'd come out to fight John Cena?
Nah, no chance. And this was between 2012 and, say, 2016. The WWE was sort of on the decline. Like, they didn't have a big star. Brock coming back sort of brought it right back up. But to their detriment, though.
That's, I think, where the UFC and the WWE both benefited from Brock being that cross promotion.
Yeah.
They both needed him, it sounds like, right?
100%. And you got to look at it, too. The WWE is the pinnacle of wrestling in the world, right?
Yeah.
To have him come back and to be the number one guy, literally put them back on the map. Put them back in that multi-million-dollar status. Because they're a public company now. They're not private anymore.
Oh, they're a public company. So they need to be paid, man. They need to keep those...
Look at these guys,
happening.
man. These
my
40-year-old men just
So
getting...
for everyone who can't see again, Brock's just been dancing in front of the top of the ramp where you walk down to the ring. And now he's entering the ring, it looks like.
And John Cena's
And
like,
he's just firing
fuck
off John
this guy.
Cena.
John Cena's just like,
Are we going to
man,
see this happen right now?
Nah, I don't think they do, because Brock doesn't like getting touched. But it was funny, he had a number of feuds before he got the title back. He had a feud with John Cena, he had a feud with Triple H.
Oh, so he gets the title back, what, in wrestling?
Yeah, 100%. Now, I'm going to say something controversial.
Can you tell me, just before you do, so this is April 2nd, 2012. Where does this fit in his fight timeline? Dom's got
His
it.
MMA fight timeline.
Yeah.
So he fights, in 2011 against Alistair Overeem.
Right. So he fought Alistair Overeem. He lost in that fight. That was a big fight. It was New Year's Eve main event card. So then he comes back to wrestling after this. And this is what we're watching now, yeah?
100%. Look at him. Look at the size of him.
He actually looks cleaner. Like his face looks clearer. He doesn't look like he's on as many roids. It doesn't look like as many pimples.
Nah, he's on all the roids now.
Nah, actually no.
Look at this. Here we go. F5 time. F5.
So he's just picked up John Cena in the cage. In the ring.
Here we go. Oh my God! Boom!
How did John Cena even let him do that?
Man, he's Brock Lesnar, man. He's probably like 350 kilos there. Just threw him around like a sack of shit.
Oh, look at this. There's this one fan watching on the side of the cage in the same t-shirt that John Cena's wearing now, laying like dead on the ground because fucking Brock Lesnar just F5'd him.
Heartbroken.
Whatever. And then there's this poor guy sitting here, look between his legs, just watching like Brock Lesnar just killed his mum.
Look at him. And you know what's funny? No one can beat him. No one's beating him, man.
So no one's beating him.
There's only one man who beat him.
They should have brought out Alistair. John Cena should have brought out Alistair.
No, your mate Goldberg beat him.
Really?
Goldberg came back at 50 and speared the shit out of him at Survivor
Mr.
Series.
WCW.
Yeah, man. It was insane.
I can't believe
insane.
we're talking about wrestling.
It's the best.
I mean, it fits with the Brock story. You have to talk about it. You have to address
Well,
it.
you got to think about it, right? He was the UFC champion and he was the WWE champion. And I would argue that the WWE title is the most prestigious title in all of the planet. Hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. You hear me out?
Yeah.
You think about it, right? UFC title, you got to fight and you earn it. Yeah. Dana doesn't pick who the champion is. So whoever's got the UFC title, it's sort of the company lies on their shoulders. For the WWE title, right? Whoever gets it, Vince puts that belt on you. Vince McMahon. If you get the WWE title, you're it. You are the face of the company. You're selling all the pay-per-views. You're filling all the arenas. You're selling all the merch. For you to get the WWE title means you are the top. You are the best in the world. you are it.
So Brock at this point had lost his last 2 fights, being Cain Velasquez and Alistair Overeem, right?
Yeah.
So he comes back to wrestling. We see him just like dismantle John Cena by picking him up over his shoulders and throwing him over.
Yep.
Like, so what happened in wrestling at this point? Because he wasn't fighting. When was his next fight?
His next fight was against Mark Hunt.
Yeah, but how long ago? That was like well after 2012.
2016. That was 5 years later.
So between the loss from Alistair Overeem, right, to where he got hit with body punches and I think he got folded with a kick to the liver or a punch to the liver.
Yep.
In the second round and kind of folded over. That's the most famous probably weigh-in I've ever seen, where they're both in the double gun pose.
Yeah.
When Alistair's
Oh.
they're both just like
Uber-ing.
juiced to
Uber-ing.
Uber-ing, yes, that's when horse meat was like tainted everywhere.
But put it this way, Brock Lesnar is the biggest star, combat sports star in the planet.
I don't know about combat sports.
Maybe not combat sports,
Let's
but
not, if you don't include boxing, because box is probably bigger. But you know what? Probably the most recognized wrestler / MMA fighter ever.
probably, yeah. He's probably the most famous wrestler ever. Probably just as famous as The Rock. And The Rock
Is
was...
you famous in The Rock?
The thing
See,
is,
that's
though-
hard for me because I grew up through that UFC, that WWE, WWF, sorry,
Yeah.
Attitude Era where The Rock was the face and Stone Cold, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The Rock was good because of Stone Cold, because of Triple H, because of Mick Foley, because of The Undertaker, right?
Mick Foley.
Brock
yeah.
Lesnar, the biggest star in wrestling,
He
with
was
no
by
one
himself.
around him.
Yeah, that's
with
true,
no one
that's
around
true.
him, yeah? And as a wrestling fan, right, as shameful as it is, you got to pay respect where it's due. He is the star.
I write him off as an MMA fighter, but I don't doubt what he bring to MMA.
It's just crazy to think that a guy had 9 fights, won the title, defended the title, then had 2 of the biggest pay-per-views
Actually,
of all
if
time.
you go back over his record, he didn't kind of fight bums in the UFC either. I mean, the heavyweight divisions were way too shallow for even there to be bums.
Yeah.
But so he fought Frank Mir, then he fought Randy Couture, Heath Herring, then he fought Randy Couture, then he fought Frank Mir, and then he fought
Shane Carwin,
Shane Carwin, then he fought...
Cain Velasquez.
I'm doing this off the top of my head. Thank you, Dom. Cain Velasquez. Then he fought Alistair Overeem, and then he fought Mark Hunt.
All champions within MMA, within kickboxing, within
Yeah.
wrestling. All champions, man. They're all good. The only shit cunt is Min Soo Kim, but he was a judo guy. Don't
Yeah,
wanna
but
start
I
talking
mean,
shit.
like, you know, yeah. You have to start your first fight somewhere, right? But he had legitimate fights, and I'm like looking back at his career. As much as I I couldn't believe watching these fights and how much he couldn't grapple, how much he couldn't even hold a base, but he found a way to win.
He did, and he
And
did
you
it
could,
well.
and you can nearly make an argument too, like if you want to hate on him, that the times he won, the competitor kind of gave it up more than maybe the Randy Couture he cleanly finished. The Frank Mir fight, the second Frank Mir fight, something was definitely wrong with Frank. He was injured in some way,
Yeah,
you could tell.
100%.
And then you've got the Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin gassed himself out, if you want to say that, you know. But I guess that Brock took advantage of all of those, so maybe I'm the wrong one, you know what I mean?
So the big question I'm going to ask you is, do we see him back in MMA? Does he ever put the gloves back on and get back in the cage?
As much as I don't want to see him, I would like to see him, just for the spectacle now. Just because now I don't follow MMA. I don't care about the following of MMA like I used to. It's purely an entertainment-based thing for me. And the spectacle of seeing Brock come in there and how funny it would be, I want to see him back.
Okay.
And I might even contradicted myself in the last hour or how long we've been talking about. Now thinking about it, I would like to see him back.
Okay, and if you were to put him in, say, let's...
I want to see him still fight Fedor.
Okay, so that would be your fight. That would be your fight?
Yeah, do
against
you know
Fedor?
they were supposed to fight Fedor during his prime, Brock's prime, and that fight was going to have at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, which
That's
I
right.
think is the biggest.
Dana flew to Russia.
Yeah,
With Lorenzo
they
and all
tried
those guys.
Everything. They begged them to make that fight happen because they were going to do that fight in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, which I think is like one of the biggest arenas in all of America, if not the biggest arena. Don't quote me on that, but I knew that it held a fuckload of people, right? I think, and they were going to do this huge card, and at that time, yeah, Brock was going to fight Fedor. I mean, it would have been a laugh because
Fedor would have killed him.
Fedor would have killed him, like
100%.
legitimately would have killed him.
100%.
And he probably wouldn't. That fight might not have even lasted 3 seconds. I think Fedor would have hit him with a looping overhand right so quickly that Brock would have been laid out. Yeah.
Well, that's chapter 1, my friend.
That's chapter 1. We could go on this forever, but don't Go back if you want. I know maybe it wasn't the most exciting one. Sometimes we're watching the fights, but it was just interesting for us to relive this stuff live on a podcast for you. We did watch, for anyone who wants to know and will leave links, we watched Brock Lesnar, Randy Couture, UFC 91. We watched Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir 2, UFC 100. And we watched the UFC main event, Lesnar vs. Carwin. What event was that at, Dom?
That was UFC 100.
UFC...
No, it wasn't. Sorry, UFC 116.
116.
And just put Brock Lesnar WWE, and there's hours and hours of content free on YouTube that you can watch.
We watched the clip.
There's
from 2012.
There's a full match against Goldberg that you're going to watch after we're done with this podcast.
Is that what? Do you think that Mark Hunt used that as training material for his fights?
I don't want to talk shit about Mark
No,
Hunt.
can we just? Hey, let's just quickly mention this. All the time we thought that he was juicing, all of a sudden he comes out of the testing pool. He's away for how many years between his last fight?
5 years.
5 years. He's supposed to be in a testing pool for how long?
I think it's 18 months.
18 months?
Yep.
He comes back in very quickly. It was a matter of months, I think it was.
Like, it was.
Or 60 days or
yeah,
something?
something crazy like that. It was
And
really
that
quick.
somehow he's sanctioned to fight. He fights Mark Hunt. He smothers Mark Hunt for pretty much 3 rounds, like blankets him. And then it comes out that he tests positive, and Mark Hunt had done everything he could to try and get some money. And
Massive lawsuit, and I think it's done. But we're going to cover that, I think.
Yeah,
I think
we'll cover that.
We'll do some research.
There'll be a Mark Hunt episode at some point.
100%. So we really appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you want, send us your favourite Brock Lesnar moment in our comment section below.
Yeah, please send us your favourite Brock Lesnar moment.
Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to educate your non-MMA friends about MMA, get them to listen to this. Have a laugh. Enjoy the fights with us.
And if you have any ideas for fighters or themes that you want to see in later chapters, we have a fair good idea where we're heading. Put it down in a comment somewhere, send it to us, and maybe we'll humour you and give you an episode.
And for all you guys listening now, don't stress. We will cover Fatal. Okay, Fatal will get his own episode.
Yes. Thanks, guys.